One day, a great event happened in Greenfield. The famous YouTuber Mr.Beast was hosting a treasure hunt. Willie found out about the event and ran out of his house to tell Jimbo. "Hey Jimbo, do you know what's gonna happen today?" Willie asked. Jimbo was looking at him, but before he could answer, Willie said, "There's going to be a Mr.Beast treasure hunt." Jimbo looked very interested. "Okay, let's pack our stuff and go," Jimbo replied. That evening, as they stood by the woods, Jimbo called for Timmy, the little lawman. "I don't know if I want to deal with this, it doesn't seem right," said Timmy. Jimbo replied, "You promised to go on another adventure with us. Now it's here, so don't be a wimp, Timmy." Suddenly, Lloyd appeared. This was the super team that went on Mr.Beast's treasure hunt today, consisting of Jimbo, Willie, Timmy and Lloyd. "What's so urgent today that Jimbo told me to come?" Lloyd said. "It's great that we're all here together, guys. Today is about the treasure Mr.Beast has hidden in our town," Willie uttered happily. No one could believe it. Mr.Beast was their favourite YouTuber and they all wanted to take on his challenge. The treasure was supposed to be hidden in the swamp forest. No one thought about how dangerous this place was. As they walked through the forest, they heard different sounds. They say you have to look for clues to get to the great treasure, so the boys searched the forest in the evening. Timmy searched the forest like a good detective, in order so he didn't miss any part of the forest. Suddenly, he noticed something stuck to a tree. "Look what I found on this oak tree trunk here," Timmy said proudly. Timmy always tried to impress himself as the great and reliable detective. Everyone was looking at the paper when Willie came running through. He ripped it off that tree. "You must spend one full night in the woods, then more clues will appear." Willie read the paper out loud. It was clear to the boys that this was going to be a very difficult challenge. As the boys snuggled up around the tree, they were having a hard time sleeping. They were all thinking about the dangers of this forest. "Hey Willie, I bet you can't spend the night alone over there." Jimbo began to tempt Willie. Since Willie was no scaredy cat, he replied, "I'm not scared of anything," and walked away from the boys. Lloyd and Timmy wondered what Willie was thinking. "He's got some guts, mate. Gotta give it to him," Lloyd uttered. Meanwhile, Willie stood by the tree next to the boys and looked around. He kept getting the feeling that someone was walking past him. He wasn't supposed to be doing this. Willie was scared out of his mind. He wanted to go back to the boys, but he couldn't admit defeat. Suddenly, there was a great crash and Willie ran away. Only Willie ran the other way from the boys. Meanwhile, Jimbo, Timmy and Lloyd were having fun. "Do you think Willie will ever come back?" Timmy asked. "I'll tell you this, fellas, he's got more guts than I thought." Lloyd started laughing. Jimbo was getting worried, but decided to keep talking to his friends. What could have possibly happened to Willie, right? Meanwhile, Willie was hiding behind a tree, hoping that morning would come soon. He thought he saw something in the distance. He walked around the tree to the other side. He was getting tired of this. He kept telling himself that he was not a coward. "I need to get back to the boys now," he told himself. He looked around. He walked through the woods, hoping he was dreaming. "I can see the boys off in the distance," he thought. He was very happy, but it was strange because Willie was walking the other way. He slowly began to get closer to the site. He stepped carefully. When he was close, he hid behind the tree and watched. They really were his friends. They were all asleep when he approached them. Willie laid down beside them too and fell peacefully asleep. In the middle of the night, they all woke up and Lloyd started asking, "So how did Willie—" "I knew you'd come back." Willie tried to defend himself. I've been gone all night." "You're the scaredy cats. You were together all the time," he said in his defense. Jimbo woke up and grumpily said, "What are you doing? I still want to sleep." But at that moment, Jimbo noticed another paper on the ground in front of them. "Look, another interesting clue." Willie ran after it. "You must not sleep again tonight. Go find some poisonous flowers and bring them to your place," Willie started reading aloud. The boys were very tired, but they had already started playing this game and couldn't go back. So they started looking for flowers. They walked around the forest for a long time, but nothing was there. Jimbo was about to go back, but they were so far in the woods that he couldn't see the way back. "I feel like we've lost our friends," said Lloyd. "We've never been lost before, so we won't be lost now. I'm the best detective in town. I'll find a way out," Timmy stated and started to look for their tracks, looking in the direction they came from. The other boys just looked at him. They knew Timmy was a little detective who could find anything if he really wanted to, but he couldn't find anything. Plus, it was dark and the tracks were hard to see, so they disappeared completely. "Okay, I have a feeling my abilities won't get us out of this place, but we're still playing for the treasure. Let's go find the flowers." So Jimbo decided to give it to Timmy and go looking, so the others had decided to go on as well. "Where is our Willy anyway?" Lloyd asked. Willy was gone again. He was actually looking for flowers nearby and forgot to remind the boys. "Got 'em!" Willy began to cheer loudly and ran towards the boys. "Great, now we have to find our way back and just plant the flowers in our spot like the last clue said," Jimbo uttered, even remembering which way they were supposed to go before. But Timmy didn't like that. He was in charge of the expedition. "Hey Jimbo, you're not a detective. I am, and we're not going that way. We want to go this way, don't we?" Jimbo was getting very angry. He was tired and he could see himself back at their treehouse. He didn't want to argue, he just agreed with Timmy. Lloyd and Willy said nothing and just followed the boys. They got further into the woods, but suddenly they saw their last sleeping spot. Timmy smiled at Jimbo. Jimbo was angry again. The boys planted a flower and waited to see what would happen. At that moment, there was a big bang. Another note appeared by the flower. Jimbo took it. "Great, you did it. Now all you have to do is pick up the treasure. It's by the swamp. Be careful, so far it's been fun. This is Mr. Beast's real challenge at the moment." The boys immediately decided to run towards the swamp. Supposedly, the swamp is haunted by evil spirits, but the last time they were there, they didn't see anything. "Guys, I don't think so. Let's go somewhere else," Lloyd said. They discovered the clue from the first day's search on the ground again. Jimbo didn't want to give up and kept walking into the woods alone. Then he called out to the boys, "Follow me!" Only he didn't get an answer. When he looked ahead, he finally saw the swamp and the treasure in it. But the treasure was in the swamp and he had no way to get there himself. He started trying to think of a way. He couldn't think of anything, nor did he know where his friends were. But where could he have lost them? They were right behind him. Lloyd appeared on the other side of the swamp and shouted, "Jimbo, hey buddy, what are you doing on the other side?" Jimbo had no idea what was going on. Suddenly, Timmy and Willy appeared behind Lloyd. "Hey, that's the big treasure, we made it!" Willy began to cheer happily, but it was premature. The boys had come up with a plan to get the treasure out of the swamp. "Alright, let's find a branch and I'll push it over to you, Jimbo," said Timmy. Willy started to look around but didn't see any branches anywhere. Timmy went back into the woods to see if he could find one. After a while, they came back with a branch. He poked the treasure with it and it came to Jimbo. "Great, Timmy, now I just have to get it to you," Jimbo replied. "Wait there for us and we'll get to you," Lloyd called to him. So Jimbo laid down and rested next to the treasure. He knew he would have time to sleep before the boys got to him. After some time, Jimbo woke up and the treasure was nowhere to be found. He looked around. This was not good. When his friends came to him, they didn't want to believe his story. "I swear to you, the treasure just disappeared, boys." But no one believed a word he said, so they started looking from the beginning. Dawn was breaking and the first rays of sunlight were hitting Greenfield, so the boys were getting tired as they walked back to town. They were bored, when suddenly the treasure appeared at the end of the woods and the girl who always helped Willy. "Oh no," thought Jimbo. They hadn't wasted all night in the woods only to have their treasure stolen by a girl. Jimbo went to her and was filled with anger. Willy tried to calm him down. "She will explain herself, Jimbo. She certainly didn't steal it. The treasure appeared to her just as it did to us." But Jimbo would not be calmed. "Now look, where did you get it?" he asked the girl pointedly.
It appeared here,"
the girl replied. Jimbo explained to her that this was their treasure and that she should go and look for something else, that this is not for playing with. The girl ran away without a word. Willy was very sorry, but he never questioned Jimbo's decision. The treasure was already theirs. Lloyd and Timmy came running up to them. "Well, I wonder what's in it, buddy," Lloyd uttered. Willy looked inside. There was another piece of paper and 4 coins. "Is this really all there is?" uttered Jimbo, who couldn't believe they went through all of this for 4 coins. The boys divided the treasure and started walking peacefully back to town. "That was a strange night. I don't really know if it was worth it," Timmy stated. He knew he had paid his debt to Jimbo and would be able to get back into it with his police activity in the coming days. "Well, I'm not happy either, Lloyd, but I'm glad we're all back," Jimbo replied. At that moment, they all parted at the beginning of town and went on their way home. Jimbo and Willy returned to their treehouse and planned their next action.